All right, guys, welcome back to the placement loop. I am Brian, and for those of you joining in right now that don't know who I am or what this is even about, right? The podcast is about essentially providing information and some education centered around how we do better business when it comes to service-based industries. It would be SaaS, staffing, and consulting, right? The placement loop itself, right, more tailored to staffing agencies just because we know exactly that. We have our guest here, Andrew Miller, who's been doing staffing for how long now, in a sense?
A decade or more.
A decade or more, right? Yeah, so plenty of expertise here to share. Excited to dive deep into number one, Vendux, right? The company that Andrew Miller is a partner of. And so Andrew, I'll pass over the mic to you. Tell me a little bit more about like how you came across, pre-Vendux to now Vendux.
Thanks, Brian. Great to be here and to be with you and your audience. Yeah, so I just said a decade or more, but that's on the staffing and people and the service side of the business, working with clients. But previous to staffing and being on this side of the table, I was on the other side of the table as a client, as a leader of people, hiring and training and kind of managing and developing people, on the company side. So it's really helped a ton. Uh, being on both sides of the table. So when I am now working with clients, providing staffing and expertise, I have been in their seats.
Hmm.
I know what's going on in the dynamics of organizations to find and develop and retain people is really hard. So so yes, so over
Nice.
numerous decades on both sides of the table.
Nice. And Vendux in itself focus on the sales aspect, the business development and the sales folks in its core staffing, I would say clientele and candidates.
In terms of the Vendux business, we're only focused on a function, the function of sales leadership. So we have got a roster of now over 1,300 highly vetted sales leaders.
And
It takes about 2 hours or so for every single one of those people to get onto our roster. It's an
right.
onboarding process.
Hmm.
Uh, so this has been built up over 8 years or so. Every month, we're adding 10, 15 new executives onto the roster. But anyway, the point is within the Vendux business, we're only focused on the function of sales leadership. So we are industry agnostic. We serve uh, AI, SaaS, medtech, edtech, professional services, uh, supply chain, you name it, across every different industry. But it's always around the function of sales leadership. Um, Previous to Vendux, I have been in executive search, kind of traditional high-end retained executive search, 33 and a third percent retained model. Um, so I did that, focused on banking and financial services.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
And when it comes to branding and marketing, so Vendux has been around for how long in total? Around 8 years, right?
Yeah.
You've been involved with them since essentially, was it 3 years ago, right?
Not quite the beginning, but it's been 5 years now.
5 years. Okay. So you're there where they're at when it came to branding, right? And
Yeah.
now it seems like it's grown exponentially since then, within the 5 years. What what did you guys end up doing differently when it came to branding and marketing for Vendux within that time?
Um, I mean, the timing has been really good in the sense that the market around fractional expertise and fractional leadership has boomed in the last few years. And we were early when we started. 8 years ago, it was it was very early.
Uh-huh.
And on the one hand, it's nice to say that we were part of helping to develop the market and establish the model. But I mean, we can take a little bit of credit, but not that much.
Right.
Um, but other people came into the market, other companies, and lots of professionals in their careers. COVID had something to do with it, and remote work and technology and being able, there's this confluence of events and tech and platforms and just the changing dynamics of the workplace have all contributed to the growth and the establishment of the fractional marketplace and the
Yeah.
model.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, So that's a little bit of background on the fractional marketplace. And then from a Vendux branding point of view, I mean, we don't focus on branding per se. Branding is it's a result of doing
Mm-hmm.
lots of things to support the business, to support the positioning and the
Yep.
expertise and the ability to make an impact with clients. We have
Yeah.
built a brand and a reputation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's
Um,
and to add to your point, a lot of entrepreneurs think about it. They spend so much time on just creating, trying to find out what their logo is going to be, right?
yeah,
Versus actually serving the clients and then just have it to where it ends up what the client wants to see, right? A lot of folks are just worried about, okay, let's worry about the brand now, how we're gonna like present ourselves. Do I wear a jacket? Do I not wear a suit jacket? Do I need to get the Lamborghini out right behind me in order to do all that stuff, right? But where it does come down to is the results, is what goes behind the name, right? Is it just the Lamborghini, or is the fact that Andrew's team is going to be able to help me build my sales team, right? And I think that's a
yeah,
critical point for sure
yeah.
to hone in on.
I mean, the Lambo in my garage, comes out on special occasions, but
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
the tip of the spear. No, I'm
Yep.
joking. But no, I agree with you. I have in myself, the organizations that I've been in, both the startups as well as the enterprises. Um, I just I have this sense that we've focused on getting stuff done
Hmm.
and making an impact and delivering service and putting the client in, right front and center to everything we do.
Yep. Definitely. And throughout time, as you've been providing these results, you and I spoke last. You were talking about your email list being so in the 40,000 range.
I gave you the wrong number. I just confirmed it earlier this week. Um, the number is about 115,000 now.
Damn. Okay. There you go. 115,000 of.
115,000 on our distribution list,
Yep.
built up over 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And our open rates are in the low 40%.
Damn. That's great. Holy
It's
crap.
really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but that means we have to be really careful on what we're sending out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The more that number grows and has grown, the more we're conscious of providing valuable information and respecting that audience.
Yeah.
No spam, no junk,
Yep.
no frivolous, articles and content. It's got to be value added.
Yeah.
Uh, Data, reporting, surveys, um, you know, facts that are based on experience and research and surveys,
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
example.
Yeah, yeah. I literally was about to ask you like, what's the philosophy behind it? What information do you want to be able to provide to folks? And we have we have a list that's over 100,000 folks, right? Like, you want to be able to send a specific message that increases your positioning. Always, it's every single message you send always will always increase your position. Whether it's like giving out valuable information for goodwill, or giving people the opportunity. I used to have a conversation with you, right? So, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. I think that we're sending out newsletters and content on a weekly basis. Whether
Hmm.
it is our blog posts, whether it's a guest article, um, whether it's a survey or something, but we're very conscious of what we're sending out. Um, and on the one hand, we're trying to inform and make people smarter and more insightful. And on
Hmm.
the other hand, uh, trying to engage where and when it's appropriate.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And that's sometimes when you talk to specific gurus, right? They say they have their own system, but what's important is that you've built a system around, like a flow around what you know what works specifically for that audience, specifically for that service slash offer, right? It's so tailored down that that's why you have that 40% open rate too, right? Because it's well targeted, well positioned, and even the cadence makes a lot of sense with your audience because you know your audience so well, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's important is knowing the audience and before even thinking about what kind of content you're going to create, right? That's
Knowing them and respecting
yeah.
their time, respecting their interests, just to kind of to know us and what's going on within the organization, how they can benefit, how they can contribute, and how they can continue to be involved in one form or another.
Yep, precisely. I would definitely agree with that. Let's pivot real quick onto client acquisition. When it comes to getting new clients, new contracts signed on, new folks, what's the number one thing that's working right now for you?
I wish I could tell you there's one thing, or even the number one thing. Um, there, in our experience, there is no one thing. It is a series of things. It
Hmm.
is regular and consistent things. Um, with a fishing analogy, it's you just got to have many lines in the water at any one time. And we practice that. The newsletters. And by the way, every so often, it's not uncommon for us to be getting an inbound email from a newsletter recipient and they say, "Oh, I've been getting your newsletter for a year or so, and
Hmm.
I think it's time to have a conversation. My organization might have a need for a fractional sales leader. Let's
Hmm.
talk."
Right. Yeah.
So, that's one thing that we do. A newsletter does not equal clients and revenue, but every so often we're
It
getting
does
an
work.
inbound just like that. So
Right.
that's one thing. Webinars. Um, we're involved in publishing and blogs and articles and contributing to the community, especially on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Um, Physically, we are involved in local communities. So I'm based in the Bay Area, so I'm involved with incubators and accelerators, Plug and Play, the Alchemist Accelerator, etc. So, and I'm physically there. I go, I mentor, I'm on their list of mentors.
Nice.
So I'm physically there on a regular basis
Yep.
down in Sunnyvale.
Hmm.
Um, every so often, I'm being tapped to be on Zoom calls with startups, either in the US or in other parts of the world, to to provide them some mentoring.
Yep.
Um, and sometimes we're guest speakers on podcasts.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
so many lines in the water.
Yeah, and it sounds like we're utilizing all aspects right now, right? Because they have the in person, You got the newsletters. You're hosting virtual. You're part of virtual meet and greets, and also releasing content as well on social media.
On LinkedIn in particular, we're very
LinkedIn in
active.
particular, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's usually where the audience is at. That's usually where even the candidates would be too.
I forgot one particular source of clients is the referral network.
Yep. Hmm.
It's it's easy to forget, but it's important not to forget the relationships, the clients, past, present. Um, so that's something we also focus on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Just
and
being in touch, kind of a general and a regular cadence of being in touch.
that's good.
And within our business, of course, once we have um, an executive from the roster within a client working on an assignment, we're also staying in touch with those executives. Even though they're working for the client, they could be there 3, 6, 9, 12 months. And we need to be in touch with them. Like
Yep.
what's going on within the organization? How's it going? You meeting plan? Are you making an impact? Any other possible opportunities within the organization that you're
Hmm.
seeing
Yeah.
where we also might be able to get involved and make an impact?
Yep. Yep. Within your network, right? You know me, I know you.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. Referrals. Yeah, a lot of folks do forget referrals as a main piece, but that's also a lot of where the money comes in is the referrals because it's and knowing how to ask for referrals too is also magic to that, right? There's a specific way to ask, and there's a specific when to ask when it comes to referrals too. Not everyone understands that, which is critical too. What would be the least effective method of getting clients that you have in your system, in your process right now, that you kind of wish that would be better?
Cold outreach.
Okay.
We Part of our DNA is to try lots of different tools
Mm-hmm.
and systems. Uh, it's not only for ourselves, but we also want to be maintaining expertise on what's out there and knowledge and experience on tools and
Mm-hmm.
platforms and methodology.
When you
Uh,
mention cold outreach, are you talking about how cold outreach to get more folks onto the bench, like more candidates
no,
as well as,
no,
or
no,
clients, getting more
no.
clients routed? Got you.
Build
Okay.
pipeline on the client side.
Got you. Okay.
So email, email outreach for us was a powerful way to generate new conversations and new appointments in the calendar
Hmm.
up until a couple of years ago. It's been almost 2 years now, I would say.
Right.
Uh, when Microsoft and Google in particular dramatically changed their algorithms and brought in their filtering systems, raised their filtering systems, which which resulted in the vast majority of emails being undelivered.
Mm. Okay.
And since then, there's a whole bunch of new systems, particularly AI-driven kinds of tools that have come onto the scene to try to replace or take cold outreach to the next level.
Hmm.
Much lower volume, much more targeted, much more personalized. So, we
Yeah.
essentially turned off um, email outreach and now pivoted to trying new AI-driven tools.
Hmm. Got you.
And so that's a whole different conversation. But
Yeah. Yeah.
the short answer to your question around what's been the least effective is um, cold outreach.
Would you also consider, cold email for sure, cold calling as well?
We've not invested much in cold calling.
Got it. Got it. And that's crazy because that was like when I was doing staffing, the whole time I was cold calling.
What percentage of calls that you made were answered?
So let's just say I had a list of 20 contacts to reach
Mhm.
out to, right? I would have essentially three pickups, right? Because this is based off of the different times of the day, different days of the week that you call people, especially if you know your audience as well, right? You know what time to call people once you get that market data. And that's the thing when it comes to marketing, comes to sales in general, is that if you're even in a go to market, if you're not doing anything, then you collect as much data as possible. And that's how I was able to pivot to being the number one cold caller in my actual business unit as well at that time. Because I came from restaurants. I did before I was doing staffing, I was in restaurants for 15 years.
Right.
So cold calling versus talking to a pissed off person who got their steak overcooked 4 times, I'd rather cold call, right?
Yeah, that's a
So
great skill.
yeah,
That is it's not a skill I have. It's I wouldn't have the patience for it. And I think it's really hard to scale that. Now you got the auto dialers and
there's
all
yeah,
that stuff. So
yeah,
you got the tools and the systems to help.
mm-hmm,
So when somebody picks up, then you got a human coming on. Yes,
yep,
I understand.
yep,
But
yeah,
no, we don't really have experience with that. And also in the people business, back to the newsletter story about how every so often we get somebody that says, "Oh, I've been getting your newsletter for a year.
mm-hmm,
Time to have a conversation." In the people, in the staffing business, you got to be in the right place at the right time. You can't force a client to hire somebody if they're not
yeah,
ready,
mm-hmm, yeah,
or if the timing is not right.
yep, yeah.
So,
So when you cold
all more
call,
reason than to stay
yeah,
top of mind, to
yep,
focus on the outreach, the lines
mm-hmm,
in the water,
yep,
the branding,
yeah,
the messaging,
mm-hmm,
uh, the mind share,
yep.
so that when they are ready,
When they are ready,
you are there.
they call you. Yep.
Yes.
The idea is to be in everyone's back pocket, to be as many
Yes.
people's back pocket as possible, and still be the biggest wallet in their back pocket, right?
Yes.
Hey, when you need money or when you need whatever, right, to solve that specific pain, hey, their biggest wallet who's been keeping up with you, depositing emotional. I always say like deposit into people's emotional piggy banks, right? So keeping up with people, knowing people, actually, talking about kids. You and I just talked about our kids just like not too long ago, and this is just the second time I've met you, right?
Yes.
That's important. And people, not a lot of people realize, even in such a transactional business as possible, right? Even selling SaaS, which can often be transactional, putting the people aspect in that sense, like makes you so much better of a salesman when it comes to the typical like tech salesperson.
It gets back to earlier in the conversation where we're talking about kind of focusing on branding versus focusing on the customer and delivering value and making an impact. When we're focused on the customer and helping that customer and making an impact, we we actually should not just be focused on what we can do. It's
Yeah.
not about us. It's
Hmm.
not about making the sale.
Yeah.
It actually is about the customer.
Yeah. How
What's
can we
going
help
on?
them?
Yeah,
Hmm.
within their organization.
Yeah.
What are their challenges? And when we think about, really listening intently to I shouldn't we didn't call them a customer yet because they're not a customer. It's a relationship. It's an individual that has a set of challenges.
Yep.
If we can help them fix their problems and meet their challenges, even with intros to other people
Yep.
and other kinds of resources. They will remember you because you didn't sell them the unicorn when they needed a squirrel. You helped
Yeah.
them find the squirrel.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there was a ton of squirrels. You didn't know that because you didn't ask the right questions and you didn't get to know the person.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would have known that he just needed a bunch of squirrels, right? On relationship building is I think is parallel to sales intelligence and discovery, right? When it comes to discovery, people are like, all right, well, I'm going to ask them a bunch of questions so I can sell them on something. It's like, no, ask them a bunch of questions so you get to know the person, understand the real issues that are going on, and then just be okay with the fact that, hey, maybe you're the person that can't solve the solution, but you should definitely at least help this person out.
Yes, exactly.
Someone else can, right? And I think we call it sales karma. I like to call it sales karma because it's just, if you're just genuinely helping people out, it all comes back to you. Always does. Whether you believe it or not. There's so many people that believe it and they don't. Let's put it that way. So
You don't even need the word sales there. It's
yeah,
karma, baby.
yeah, yeah. It's just karma. So
Yeah,
that's my
it's so
biggest piece
true.
on it. Awesome. Well, Andrew, I think based off of what we're hearing today, I'd love to have you on for like a part two sometime in the future, right? I'd love to get on a part two, talk a lot about the future of Vendux, where you guys are going, as well as a discussion around AI. But also, I'm pretty sure you're getting a lot of intel of what's happening out there. You're getting a lot of intel with people's pains, people's thought processes, people's feelings towards certain things. AI, right? AI is a big word. So love to explore that another time as well.
I'd love to as well. Yeah, happy to share and to be involved. These are changing times
Yep.
at every level.
Yep.
So from an organizational point of view, business of fractional, we see evolving trends now around fractional teams versus just fractional leaders.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
we definitely see how AI is getting embedded in processes uh, so fast every day.
How can people find you? What's the best place for folks to find you?
The company is vendux.org. My email is andrew.miller@vendux.org. I'm on LinkedIn, and there's a link to my calendar right on my LinkedIn profile.
Awesome. I'll actually attach all those links in the description so everyone have nice and full, easy access to it as well. And yeah, thanks so much for the chat today. I love it. I feel like I've learned a lot myself, and hopefully the audience as well. So we'll sync up a little later, and yeah, we'll see you soon.
Total pleasure. Thank you so much, Brian.
Absolutely.